I look like a mess, but when do I ever not look like a mess? If I look tired, it's because I am. It's because it's 8:49 and I have been trying to wake up earlier due to the fact that in 2 days I'm going back to school. So hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've already seen my face before. Basically I have gone into a mild depression over the fact that we're going back to school. But basically I thought I already filmed this video once, but I didn't like the way it came out. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about some of the stories that happened during sophomore year. Most of the stories happened at school and a couple of them didn't happen at school. Let's just jump straight into it. So the first thing that happened was it was a bus accident. It wasn't really a bus accident, like we didn't actually get into a full-on crash, but that's just how I have it in my notes. Basically we were at a left turn. We were in a left turn lane and we were trying to turn left and we're there and we were on a road where there's like a lot of trucks that come through, like big semi trucks that come through. And so I kind of saw, like I looked up because I was like, I had my earbuds in, I was listening to music, I was doing stuff on my phone, and so I look up and I see a truck coming towards us, usual. I look back down and then all of a sudden I hear like a kind of crash and then something hit the floor of the bus. So I look up and I'm kind of confused because I'm like, what just happened? And then I look to my friend Ashley, you guys have seen her on my channel before, and she's like, oh, the truck just hit us. And I was like, what? I was like, what? Because you know how in school buses they have like the big side mirrors so you can see in the back. Well, the truck had ended up hitting the left side one. And so what happened was when the truck hit that mirror, it flew into the bus, it hit my bus driver in the face, and then it flew onto the floor. And then he ended up splitting his lip. And I think that was about it. I think that was the only thing that happened to him. We tried to call the police because, technically, I think that counts as a hit and run. We called the police, but he was like, oh, don't call the police. We were already on the phone with them. And then we explained the situation, and she's like, okay, it's fine. And then we just hung up. And basically, he was the coolest bus driver I ever had because he was really nice. And, he wanted to get us all home before he went to the doctor or anything. And that was basically the last day that he drove the bus for us, because I'll look it up here, I think the first day of school, he actually busted another bus's back mirror, like completely rammed into the back bus mirror, and so it broke completely. If you look in that video, you see I pull up the snap of one of my friends who showed it. It was wild, but yeah, that was basically the last day he drove for us. Second story I have is basically the eclipse that happened. I don't know if you guys remember that. We had an eclipse, and a lot of teachers and the whole school was kind of expecting people to get signed out because it was supposed to happen, I think, around like 12 June. But yeah, I remember I tried to go to sleep and I think I couldn't fall asleep until like 1 or 2 a.m. and I was running on like 3 hours of sleep, and I was already in lunch, and I told my mom, I was like, Mom, can you come sign me out? And I had to argue with her because she was like, you can see it later on TV. And I was like, Mom, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And so, yeah. She came and she signed me and Ashley out. These are the pictures that I took. You can't even tell because, iPhone quality. Okay, but you get the idea. You get the idea. There was an eclipse, and yeah, you could only really see it if you were really, really into the city, Chicago, or really south. And so, yeah, some of these stories are kind of stupid, but I had them written down anyways. Basically, my math teacher, she almost passed out, and She has a medical condition. I completely forgot what it was called, and I mean, I wouldn't share it anyway just because, you know, privacy. And basically, she went to the bathroom, and she was in there for like a couple of minutes. Or no, she was in there for like 15 minutes. I also have snaps from that day, and I will also be looking for those. But yeah, she went into the bathroom, and she was in there for like 10 or 15 minutes, and we were kind of just like, where's our teacher? And so we were kind of just like messing around and stuff, you know. And then like the teacher, she comes like stumbling back in, and she's like, I almost passed out in the bathroom. And so we were like, oh my gosh, like what? Like, yeah, I guess a student had went in and was like asking her, was like, do you need help? And she was like, no, I'm fine. And then basically we didn't have math the rest of the day because she was like kind of overwhelmed. So she just like sat back and here. Yeah, so that was that, and then yeah, our teacher was missing. This is where the title comes in. So I had driver's ed 6th period, first semester, and how it would work is in driver's ed you had driving lessons, and it would be you and either one person or 2 more people, and you would go with the driving instructor and you would go out and do lessons. And so it was me and my one friend A. So me and friend A go out and we go to the car and we're driving around, and we go like maybe a mile away from the school, and we're kind of practicing like driving in the streets and stuff. And then we kind of like, the driving instructor, he like notices, I think he had a missed phone call or something, so he makes us pull in to a little strip mall where we can like, you know, park so he can like call and see what was going on. So he gets out of the car, you know, we're in park in this strip mall. He gets out of the car and he calls, and he's on his phone and he's looking real serious. And me and friend A are just like looking at each other and we're like, what is going on? And we're both kind of just like messing around, being like, oh, I should have brought my phone, like so boring, like it's probably nothing. And he's like still walking around and he's talking, and then he hangs up, he gets back into the car, and then he's like, we need to go back to the school. And so we're like, okay, why? And he just goes, oh, the school's on lockdown. And so we're like, oh, okay, you know, normal lockdown. Like, it could be the dogs, you know, the dogs just walking around checking stuff, or it could just be a drill. And so, you know, like a practice drill. So we're just like, all right, whatever, we go in, and still technically don't know what's going on. And we go to the back entrance of the school, and we like, you know, pull up, and there's a police officer there, and he has to like basically escort me and friend A into the building. And we're just like, what the heck is going on? And there was a lunch period going on, and I remember my friend, she was like, yeah, I saw you being escorted in by the police, what was going on? I'm like, I don't know. And so we get in and we go back to our driver's ed classroom, like the actual classroom, and my friend B, she's like, oh my god, I was texting you, trying to figure out, I was trying to get in contact with you. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't bring my phone when I go driving with the driving instructor. And so basically we're still sitting there, we don't know what's going on. And so 6th period, the bell rings for it to, you know, end, and they wouldn't let us leave our classes. So we're like, okay, so we waited like, I think maybe like 5 or 10 minutes, and then they let us go to our next class. And so then we go to our next class, 7th period, it's the end of the day, and we basically do our normal-ish. And then eventually, the town has a newspaper, like an online newspaper that like the residents can post on. And basically someone finds out that there's a guy running around the city with a gun, and the police don't know where he is, but they thought that he was heading north towards our school. So that's basically why we were on lockdown, is because the guy was running around town with a gun, and they didn't know where he was. So basically, it's the end of the day now, final bell rings, and they don't let us go. Like, they don't let anyone go. They said if your parents were here to pick you up, because like, you know how like people, you know, their parents drop them off at school, pick them up. They were like, if your parents are here, then you can go ahead and leave. And after all the car riders left, basically then they were like, okay, if you drove to school, you can leave. And so then everybody who could drive left. And so basically, since I was in a class full of juniors, 90% of the people were gone, and it was just me and a couple of other, like maybe me and 2 other people. Because my friend C, she got a ride with a junior. So I was like, okay, bye. And then eventually they say, I want to say this is like 15 minutes after the final bell rings, they finally let people who were on buses leave, so then I got to leave. And normally we leave like 20 minutes after the bell rings, but that's because they give us enough time. And so we ended up getting back like really late. I think eventually they did catch him. I don't remember what he was doing. I think he went to his daughter's house or something like that. My next story, beef story. So basically I have a friend, her name is Tiffany. Tiffany doesn't like Janet. And so basically one day, Tiffany is walking down the stairs behind Janet, and Janet kind of trips a bit, like over her feet. She doesn't fall, but so Tiffany says, learn how to walk, and then Tiffany basically says something along the lines of, go back to Mexico, because, you know, Tiffany's Mexican. Janet says, go back to Mexico. So my friend Tiffany ends up getting in front of Janet at some point, and so Janet basically yanks her ponytail, and then and then they kind of just get on the ground and start fighting. And so then basically Tiffany never had lunch with us again because she got put in a different lunch that was not with Janet. Sorry, that story's been told to me like 2 or 3 different times, and like the details still kind of get a little cloudy because Tiffany herself told me that she started it by saying, oh, learn how to walk. Okay, and then my last 2 stories are Target stories, and basically we went out to dinner. It was me and like 12 other people. Me and 11 other people, just to give a guesstimate. We went out to dinner, and it was for our friend's birthday. And she knows who she is. I don't know if she cares if I say her name, but I'm not gonna, just because, you know. And so, basically, there's a Target right behind the restaurant that we were at. So at the end of the night when we're done eating, we're like, oh, let's go to Target. Like, why not? And so we're just like, all right. And so we all agreed to go to Target. So we all go to Target. And then, mind you, it's a group of like 12 teenagers. It's like a group of teenagers. And I guess we decided that it'd be funny to like all split off into like groups of 2 or 3. And we just start running around the store. Like running and being loud around the store. And eventually, the girl whose birthday it is decides that, you know, she wants to go home and like we need to stop. And so we meet up towards like the front of the So yeah, she's like, all right, everybody meet up by the front, by the registers. Not like at the registers, but you know how it's like the registers and then there's like a gap of floor with like stands, and then it gets to like clothes and other stuff. So we were basically standing in this area between the registers and the merchandise, and we're waiting and we're trying to see like, and we're waiting for all of our group to get together. And eventually I see 2 Target employees, and one is standing like 10 or 20 feet away from us in the merchandise, and someone else is standing in front of the registers, behind the registers. And so I'm like, okay, we need to go, we need to bounce, like, bye. And so we get everybody here. I start walking out with 2 of my friends, and one of my friends says, because she was trying to whisper, I think, but she ended up being like normal speaking, and I think she said something like, why are they staring at us? And the Target employee who was standing in the merchandise just goes really loudly, see, you guys don't do anything stupid. And I was like, gotta go. That was at a Target, different from the one that I'm going to talk about now. So I've had 2 experiences in Targets. Okay, and so the last one is basically, so it's Target with my mom, and we were looking for gifts for my dad and brother, I think. And so I, you know, just curious old me, like I've been saying, I want to get a vlogging camera, and I went to go look in Target's camera section, and you know how like you'll go to a store and all the electronics will have like something underneath it and then a cord so you can't, you know, like yank it away. So I noticed that and I pick up one of the cameras. I try to take a picture with it and then it doesn't work. And so as soon as I set it back down, the alarm starts going off, and so I like throw my hands up and I back away slowly and I'm like, I didn't try to do anything. I was just trying to look at the camera. And so I run back to my mom and she's in the section like right next to the electronics. So it's like electronics and then clothes, and she's like right over here in clothes. And I'm like, Mom, we need to go, like we need to hurry up, like let's go. And like I can still hear the alarm beeping because it's like pretty loud, and I think it goes on for like 3 or 4 minutes. Oh shoot. But yeah, basically it goes off for like a good 5 minutes, I want to say, and like 4 Target employees go back there, like they all go together. And I'm like, does it really take that many of you guys to turn off an alarm? And I noticed that the security guard had gone, and so I was like, okay, cool. And so eventually me and my mom get to check out. No, we go to a regular register. And as soon as we're in line, I see the security guard is at the very back, like near the merchandise, but like in line of sight with us. And as soon as we get up to the front, he goes over and stands to the front of our line. And so basically, yeah, moral of the story is that I'm a magnet for having bad Target experiences. Those were all my stories from sophomore year, basically. I couldn't think of anything else. These were kind of just the stuff that stood out the most. That was kind of just like a, maybe people would want to hear about it. Like I said, I go back to school this week. We'll see how long that I can continue to put out videos every single week. I'm planning on saving up for the G7X, and if I can get that camera, basically I'm gonna be doing a lot more vlogs because I like vlogging. I'm sorry if I have to go back to the way that I was before, but I'm a busy girl. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.